Aries, let's see what's happening here for some of you, Aries. There is potentially an a very emotional goodbye, one that's long overdue, one that's been a long time coming. Whether this is you or them, someone's going to make that choice. And there's the big news, okay? There's burdensome energy around you, possibly in love, and you do have grief here as well. So let's look at that because I sort of mentioned that in the general reading. Someone either has been blocking, blocking themselves from opening up to you or blocking from you in accessing them. And you've tried a lot, Aries, okay? You've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into something here. But I think okay, the Empress is all about intuition. I think a part of you has intuition. You have some feeling about a relationship, the black and the white, the divine and the feminine, that it's not going the way you want it to. Now, I don't know if there's a third party involved here. Could be another person, could be like an ex. I did mention the past briefly coming through, and this can be past as well. The past, past memories, past people that have been important to us. Or this is priorities, work priorities, wealth, management, leadership, travel, whatever sort of thing is coming in between you and your relationship. It's affecting the both of you. And I feel for a lot of you Aries watching, if you are parting or mourning, if you're still in heartbreak over losing someone, of course not now. If it's still very much emotional and raw for you, then, these words won't really ring true. But for a lot of you, you will move past this. And I feel like your next significant relationship is actually a twin flame union here. Could also be a second chance at a relationship that you've walked away from that has possibly marriage or long-term commitment in the cards for the both of you, or remarriage. But I do sense it's a twin flame union here, and it might be more so with the water sign because you've got water, water, water. So Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio, that is coming through for you romantically. But because look at that, you've got the Six of Cups as well. I feel like a lot of you have been carrying a lot. You might be carrying a lot of pain, or there might be a lot of burdens, or there might be something you feel like you're doing on your own. There is going to be some sort of opening up here with the High Priestess. She does bring news. I think for some of you, there's some sort of news that could be heavy or could be a lot to take on. Now, for some of you, it could be unexpected proposals. It could even be pregnancy news, whether your own, or an ex, but there's some news that will weigh heavy on you in regards to love. And there's also choices, okay? There's major choices, and I think this is coming into play in your relationships as well. But I do sense there'll be some sort of unexpected news that'll weigh heavy on relationships, but more so on you. It might put a lot of strain on you. The High Priestess can represent a prophecy or something that's very intuitive. So I'm not sure if you felt this coming or someone feels something coming and they're going to communicate it to you, maybe through text, maybe face-to-face. But it's going to change something here for you. There's going to be a lot of thought and reflection, absolutely, about communication, because the swords rule communication. There could be news from the past coming in for some of you, okay, from a past ex or lover. They might want to rekindle something once again. Okay, there's a beautiful meeting taking place with the Six of Cups. But it can also be children, new additions to the family, or something changing in the family or home life. For some of you, you might be meeting someone romantically, could be on a trip, or you might be connecting with someone foreign who's actually in your prophecy here. You're fated to have children and marriage with this person, or they might have had a previous marriage or children from a previous marriage, and this person is going to come to mean a lot to you. You're going to be doing a lot for them, Aries. You're going to commit head and heart 110% to this person. Could even be from a past life here. You've got the Six of Cups, but I feel like there is romance coming into the picture here. You've got an important meeting with someone that's taking place, Aries. And like I said, this person could change things for you. It could change how you see your relationship. For others, if you've been single for a while, you've been traveling, there's been emphasis on your assets or working your way up in career, or, spiritual journeys and things like that. I do think this is about to change. You're actually going to wake up from that slumber, because the High Priestess is here and she rules fertility. And I do see her sending someone to you So romance is blossoming, okay? The notion of the Two of Cups being above here, I do feel like you've got a twin flame connection around you, which is indeed very, very exciting. It could be someone quite traditional as well that you're meeting, or there's something coming up that's traditional for you. Could be an anniversary, it could be a wedding, it could be some sort of traditional ceremony, but there's something coming up, or some sort of event to honor your relationship or your anniversary or your union with someone else. Could even be like renewing your vows during this time. But there is emotions, and I do feel like there's a parting of ways. Something is going to be laid to rest. This can symbolize death, loss, and grief. And you do have that present in the cards here, and it's emotional. You've got a lot of water here. It's emotional cards, so I do feel like there's heartbreak or there's parting of ways. And that's not to say you can't come back to each other, because you absolutely can, because there's some sort of reconciliation. So if you are breaking or moving away from someone, if you are saying goodbye, if you're taking that decision to say goodbye or detach from someone emotionally, I have a feeling they're in your future. Could be 6 weeks, 6 months from now, but I have a feeling this person will somehow step back into your life in some form, okay? Let's move on to your career and have a look and see what's happening for Aries career, creative pursuits, finances. Again, the notion of maybe overseas travel or trips are coming up here. The ability to gain employment overseas or with a different company, or a company that might have branches. For example, I'm seeing you leaving. I don't necessarily see a new offer as yet. Okay, there is new beginnings coming up ahead, but the offer won't come as yet. The Magician has come up here, so I do feel like there's powerful changes happening in your career, and these general messages might relate more to you, more in your career and entrepreneurial or creative pursuits. Some of you are starting something that's destined to succeed or bring in quite a bit of money. You might have to travel for it, you know, collect stock, do your research, but I see lots of money around you here. So finances could be going quite well. You've got the Hierophant and the King of Pentacles, both of which represent Taurian energy. Luxury items, furnishing, tools of trade, benefits, incentives, finances, unexpected raises. All of this is a possibility here for you in your career. And the Magician here, any of you that have been thinking about starting a new business, I see you collecting finances, resources, possibly even asking for money to help fund those dreams of yours. And I do see that this could be highly successful to the point where you'll reach a national or international clientele here, Aries. So people will know your name and you'll venture far and wide. There's travel around you. You've got a lot of travel cards, cards that symbolize movement. Now, the Knight of Wands could indicate a change in job role, a change in department. You might be really thinking about making those changes, and those changes will take place. As I said, I'm not necessarily seeing an offer, however. So the offer really isn't there as yet. I mean, it could be, but I do see a new start somehow. And things can happen very, very quickly. Swift changes. The Magician represents things happening almost instantaneously, or things taking off for you almost overnight. So overnight successes in career, especially in entrepreneurial activities. You might even be collaborating with someone foreign. Okay, could be a cousin, a family member, a friend, an overseas investor. But there is travel cards around you here, which is good. Travel opportunities could bring work opportunities as well, so keep that in mind. But there is, for a lot of you, something you're leaving behind. You've had enough and you're coming into a more creative role, or a role where you can be yourself, a role where your creativity is your own. You get to own your craft, because that's what the Magician is. But the Magician also brings fame and something to do with reputation. And there's also very influential people around you in the workplace. There could be big bosses coming to visit you, or probably even reviewing you. They might even be testing you or watching you from afar, how you handle situations. So you might be tested. Be careful. Don't be the fool. because the Fool and the Magician both represent Aries. Have your wits about you, be switched on, which you normally are, because you do have influential people, okay, that either want to poach you or they want to see how you perform under certain situations, especially pressured situations. The choices, I feel like there's something to do with choices, the choices you'll be making in your career or in the company you work for. These choices are somehow being tested or being brought to you, or somehow these choices are going to impact how people see you. So make sure you're thinking about the right choices. Maybe it's employing someone new, maybe it's letting someone go. The notion of splitting, that you might be in a precarious situation here where you might have to make a very high pressured or tense judgment call. But I feel like the big people, the big fish, the managers, superiors, are actually waiting to see which decision you make and why you'll make that decision. But for some of you, there is the notion of promotion here, okay? Moving on to bigger and better things, searching for bigger, better things, and this is the money and the incentive attached to it. There's possibly change in title here as well. So either there's a restructure in the company, or you will be assigned a new title, or possibly even different roles and responsibilities. Some of you might be happy with it, some of you may not. But I feel like it's a great jumping off point. The Fool is here, so great jumping off point into a more owned role, or into a more autonomous or creative role. So if you're wanting to have that freedom and flexibility, I feel like this is a great, some sort of opportunity here will be a great jumping off point for you to be able to do that. I will leave it at that though, Aries. Just want to thank you again for tuning